Hello and welcome to another episode of Celebrate Meridian. I'm Mayor Tammy. The City of Meridian has been at the center of growth in Idaho for over the last few decades. As a community, we have seen our population grow, welcome many new stores into our town, and watch new construction bring welcome jobs throughout our community. While we have grown during the last few years, the momentum has slowed. However, the energy continues to be in Meridian. Later in the show, I'll be joined by Bruce Chatterton, the director of our Community Development Department, and the city's Economic Development Coordinator, Brenda Sherwood, to discuss what we are seeing in our community and why the energy is in Meridian. But first, I want to get you caught up on what's happening in the City of Meridian. At the end of February, the city's lawsuit against the City Hall construction manager was heard before the Idaho Supreme Court. For those of you who aren't familiar with the case, Petra was hired to be the city's construction manager when we built City Hall. Their job was to look out for the city and make sure the contractor's work met project specifications. We don't feel like they did their job because when we moved into City Hall, there was a lot of problems. We've since had to completely replace the roof, take out one of the water features, and fix several floods and leaks in the pipe since moving into the building. We took Petra to court because they were asking for more money and we couldn't resolve it amongst ourselves. We don't feel it was fair to have our taxpayers pay more. As soon as the Idaho Supreme Court makes a decision, we'll let you know. Last month, the City Council decided to put a vote to the people to decide if you, the voters in Meridian, want to expand your representation on City Council from 4 members to 6 members in response to our community's growth, as well as the increased duties of our City Council. The election will take place on May 21st. I applaud the decision made by the City Council in asking you, the community, to decide how you'd like to be governed. I look forward to seeing what the voters decide come May. We also have some great events taking place this month. I hope you will join me on March 12th for Coffee with the Mayor. This month it will be held at Napa Auto Parts in downtown Meridian, just off of Meridian Road. Napa is one of the many businesses impacted by road construction on the Meridian Split Corridor Project. On March 16th, I hope you will take part in I Heart Treasure Valley, a day of community service. Service projects will take place from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And at the end of the day, people from across the valley will get together at the Idaho Center for a live concert and to hear from motivational speaker Nick Voyachek. This month, we are also excited to once again host the Missoula Children's Theater. This is a chance for children to perform in the Secret Garden. Auditions will be held March 18th at City Hall. The cast will rehearse all week and perform for the community on March 22nd and 23rd. For more details on auditioning or performances, please visit our website. Something most Meridian residents have noticed by now is the construction on Meridian Split Corridor Project. A lot of you have asked questions about the project, so we invited Christine Myron from the Ada County Highway District to help get us some of the questions that you have answered. Christine, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Well, maybe you can start by telling us a little bit about the project itself and maybe some of the change that people will notice once it's completed.
Sure. Well, the project started in late October, and really we're rebuilding Meridian Road, a 1-mile stretch between Franklin and Cherry, and we're widening it to 5 lanes. People will notice that road being built here in the near future. We've, of course, been doing some prep work. We've been doing sewer and water work on it. In addition, when the project is complete, people will see a crossover roadway just south of the railroad tracks that connects Main Street to Meridian Road. They'll also see rebuilt intersections at Meridian and Cherry and Main and Fairview. So there are a lot of components to this project. It's a very complex project, and we're really in the thick of construction at this point in time.
Yes, you certainly are. Some people have asked why this project is needed. Can you maybe help explain what needs or what issues it addresses?
Sure. Well, as you know, the vision for this project has been in the works for a number of years. ACHD, the City of Meridian, and the residents and business owners in Meridian have been working on this project and really accomplishing the city's goal, as you know, of making downtown Meridian a two destination that's pedestrian friendly, and then also taking some of those vehicles off of Main Street so that can be accomplished. So Meridian Road, once it's complete, will really be able to handle that capacity, and it will really serve those motorists who are simply just traveling through Meridian, who want to get from maybe the interstate to their home or to a business, just simply want to pass through. So it's going to really accomplish the city's goal of having the to and through concepts there for downtown.
Yeah, very good. Over the next few months, what changes are they going to see?
Well, up until February, this project has really been focused on the sewer and water upgrades as well as utility upgrades. Quest, Intermountain Gas, those folks have been out there improving their facilities and a lot of underground work. So now that we have warmer weather, we're going to start seeing the road actually being built. In late February, folks noticed intersection work beginning at Meridian and Meridian and Cherry and Main and Fairview. And that work is going to be done in 4 phases. And of course, those 2 intersections are very close in proximity, which makes things very challenging. They'll be constructing those intersections through September. And so during that time, as you know, traffic is down to 1 lane in each direction, and the signals are operating on something called split phasing. And while that allows for left turn movements to be maintained, it really restricts the volume of traffic that can go through those intersections. So those intersections are feeling the pinch, as are a lot of the alternative routes in the area, Pine, Franklin. So a lot being done at this point. Again, that will continue through September.
Now, we talked, I think, at great length before the project started. ACHD has been very sensitive to the businesses along Meridian Road and Main Street, for that matter, and some of the businesses that are affected by this construction. You've given alternative routes to the businesses so they can continue to stay in business. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, as you mentioned, we have been working with the business community really before this project started, a year in advance, and a lot of on-the-ground, door-to-door work with them, trying to prepare them. Of course, there's only so much you can do to prepare for these kind of constraints during construction. We worked with them to create alternate access routes for those businesses within that closure. In some cases, the access will be taken off of Main Street. You'll take Main Street to get to that destination. In other cases, you'll be able to access the businesses from Cherry, Meridian Road via Cherry, and then on the south end of the project, Meridian Road via Franklin. So those options are still there. In some cases, you'll take access off of Northwest 1st and 2nd. Now, we created a map that shows, kind of illustrates overall where those access points are and how to get there. In addition, if you visit the website, meridiansplitcorridor.org, you'll see individual maps that were individualized for the businesses, and in many cases we gave them copies so that they could give to their customers, and it really kind of maps out that route on how to get there. In addition to that, of course, it's a construction zone, so there are a lot of signs up, but we did specifically put up directional signs that are black and orange in color, and those also help folks get to those businesses. We want to see them thrive. We want to see them survive throughout this project, and we certainly hope that the residents of Meridian and folks doing business there will remember they're there, they're open, and you can get to those businesses.
Well, and that's an important message that certainly we hope that people really remember and will patronize those businesses. Their survival is certainly, and these challenges during this road closure, is a real detriment to those businesses. So for our community's long-term benefits, we should patronize these businesses. If people have questions about road closures, the latest road closure, I understand that the Pine intersection will close during spring break,
Yes.
so they can do the road work then. Where can they find that information?
Well, we have a website that we established specifically for this project, meridiansplitcorridor.org, and that's a great resource. We hope that people will go to that website, take a look at the information. There's several maps there. Again, all those business access maps that I referred to, those can be found there. People can also sign up to receive construction updates via email. That's really our best, most immediate way of contacting people during construction and keeping them apprised of what's going on. In addition to that, we hold monthly town hall meetings with the city, ACHD, and the Meridian Development Corporation, and we invite folks to come to those. Those are evening meetings, typically starting at 6 o'clock at City Hall, and it's an opportunity for people to come learn a little bit about project progress, what's been done to date, what are some of the milestones and challenges ahead, and also just ask questions of city and ACHD staff as well as the general contractor. Again, all those dates are on the meridiansplitcorridor.org website, which is a great resource.
Yes, it is, and certainly Ada County Highway District has been an amazing partner with the city, and they've tried to really work with the businesses in the area. Thank you, Christine, so much for joining us. I greatly appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
The city knows it has been hard for businesses in downtown Meridian during construction. That is why, starting this month, the city and the Meridian Chamber of Commerce will start cash mobs at downtown businesses. Each month during construction, we will plan a group of businesses to go and support, and we hope that all of you will join us. This month, the cash mob will be on March 12th, the same day as Coffee with the Mayor. Keep an eye on the city's website and social media sites for the locations and dates of the cash mobs and support these local businesses. Now I'm joined by Bruce Chatterton, the city's Community Development Director, and Brenda Sherwood, who is the city's Economic Development Coordinator. Thanks so much for joining me. I know that we have a lot of exciting things to talk about. Bruce, maybe we can start with you. You are the Community Development Director. Recently, we combined planning, building department, land development services, and economic development. Perhaps you can tell us a little bit about what this is given in terms of efficiency and those kind of things.
Well, Mayor, as you know, all those different functions, important functions, were at different places within City Hall. Combining them, getting them together as one team, really allows us to do our part for the Meridian Way. What it means now is that the customer, instead of going and standing in separate lines or at least seeing folks in separate offices, we can do what private sector does now, which is to sit the customer in one chair and we bring the services to them. So nothing that we do in terms of business development, growth, real estate development, building, every project is unique. And so this approach allows us to customize the services and bring them to the customer rather than the customer having to navigate what sometimes can be a pretty difficult set of circumstances. We can bring those straight to the customer.
Very nice. I know that things are very busy in your office. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about Meridian's real estate market and the permit growth that we're seeing in your department? As well, can you give us some idea about how that compares with previous activity we've seen?
Well, it's been a wild ride since 2005. 2005 really was the apex. We did around 3,500 single-family permits. And then, of course, as the real estate recession hit, we went down to 2011. We did just about 500 single-family permits. But now we've doubled that. So in 2012, we did over 1,000 single-family permits, a big increase in multifamily permits and in commercial permits as well. So we really have climbed out of the real estate recession. And I think we all know, everybody will agree, that 2005, 2006 was an overheated, unbalanced situation. Now I hope that we're seeing growth that's much more sustainable and much more balanced.
So why do you think we're seeing the increase in activity?
I think that our area, by that I mean the Boise, Nampa metropolitan statistical area, the urban area, with Meridian as its heart, has always had great dynamics. There's been a lot of pent-up demand. A lot of folks love to live here. We have some great employers. The dynamics were always good. Meridian's location has always been key. And so this was really bound to happen when loan money became available and when folks were able to get some breathing room, that they would want to have high-quality place to live in the center of a beautiful place. That's Meridian.
Well, very exciting, Brenda. Last year we saw 75 businesses open, and maybe you can tell us a little bit about some of that commercial growth. And it's great timing since we just toured the Meridian, or the village at Meridian. Can you tell us a little bit about our commercial activity?
Absolutely. Well, I think that Bruce, hit it right on the nail. We are the heart of the valley. And so we are becoming somewhat of the commercial hub of the valley. Our commercial growth is at the highest that it's been in quite some time, but not only that, we're building commercial developments much quicker than the rest of the valley. A lot of commercial development has discovered that being in the heart of the valley, they're able to capture the shoppers from throughout. And I think as we were just saying, we just got back from Center Cal, which is the development, the village at Meridian, right on Eagle and Fairview. And we discovered today that is, at its completion, will be a $300 million project. Now, that has captured a lot of national attention. So we're getting site selectors calling throughout the nation, talking to us about an opportunity in a market where they have not been located before to come into Meridian. So it's a great opportunity, and we've had a lot of commercial development with that.
Well, it's very exciting. So we're not only seeing businesses come to the area, but we're seeing jobs being created and family wage jobs.
Absolutely.
Maybe you can tell us a little bit about some of those industries that we're seeing coming to the area.
Mayor, I don't have to tell you, because one of the initiatives that has been at the forefront of economic development has been business retention and expansion. And for those watching, one of our goals this year was to make sure that we captured the market that would help our GDP. And that, of course, being our manufacturers. That was a goal of ours, to meet with many of the manufacturers throughout Meridian and see how we can help them grow. Exciting for us, of course, we've developed through those core competencies and worked with everything from healthcare through the core, our health science technology corridor, and then, of course, with Project 60, the governor's initiative to help raise that GDP. So we really targeted those core competencies in Meridian. So we're happy to say that this year, and as you announced at your State of the City, we actually grew in manufacturing at a higher rate than the rest of the valley. And in addition, we also grew our healthcare at a higher rate. And then, as we just spoke about, retail is just at an all-time boom.
Yes, it is. With all this activity taking place, undoubtedly we have some challenges. What are those challenges, and how are we addressing them?
Well, Mayor, first of all, as we get busier, we've always been lean, especially during the real estate recession. We got quite lean in the building and planning divisions. But as we begin to get a lot busier, and we're busy now, it's keeping those levels of service at those high levels that's going to be important. So we have some important tools, including Excel automation, which is our tool for permitting and for allowing electronic review of permits as they come in, allowing a lot of that information to be accessed online, and in some cases even online applications. The biggest challenge, though, really is getting customers in to talk to us, or us getting out to them, finding them and talking to them early. Even at just the napkin sketch level, finding out what they want to do, what their goals are, and helping them get through sometimes pretty complex processes with a helping hand. So getting them in there early is a continued challenge.
Now, the city right now is exploring a business registry. Are others doing that, and how is it different than a business license?
Well, business licenses and business registries are very common around the country. In the state of Idaho, locally, we have Garden City for the last 5 years has had a business registry program, which they seem to like and has worked well for them and for their business community. We talk about business license. Well, our registry is not a license. We're not saying to a business, you have to come in and ask us our permission to operate, to open a business. We are saying is, we need to know a little bit about you. And we actually brought it up in the last question. Getting folks in early to talk to them is really critical. And knowing where the businesses are when there's been a major change is really important so that we can connect and bring services to those businesses and so they have a good experience with Meridian. It's also critical for life safety, for public safety, that police, fire, EMS responders know what's on site, who that responsible person is for a business, so that they can respond in a way which helps keep property and individuals safe.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I think that it's going to be important if people have questions. Who should they contact?
Well, they can contact me. If they can't reach me, and I certainly will return the call, within a business day. Brenda is available as well. And soon we'll be announcing the date and time for a town hall meeting to talk more about the business registry and the problems that we're trying to solve with it and to get more input from the business community about it.
Well, I appreciate that both of you came and joined me today and shared some of the good news that we're experiencing in our community with economic development and our increased economic vitality. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor.
Recently, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council hosted Ignite Youth. This event gives teens a chance to share their ideas and stories that are important to them. They are given 5 minutes and 20 PowerPoint slides. Miranda Gregory took home this year's top prize. Let's take a look at her presentation.
All right, well, when I was around 10 years old or so, everyone around me started using this new word. And it was a word that I hadn't heard before ever. And so I asked around and I asked everyone, what does it mean? And they told me, oh, it means stupid, So, like my classmates, I accepted it as part of my new everyday language. And I switched out the words stupid and dumb for this new word. And then I went home and I used it in front of my mom. And she was mortified. And she told me to never use that word again. And that's when I learned what it really meant. It wasn't a synonym for stupid. It was a slur. It was a slur against people like my own brother. But how was I supposed to know? Of course I'd seen kids with autism and Down syndrome, and I realized that they were different, but my brother was just my brother. I mean, yeah, he would go up to random people we didn't know and talk about his cat, and yeah, he would make siren noises when people were loud and he couldn't tie his shoes, but he was just my brother. I didn't know he had Sherwood syndrome or that when he was 13 he'd still be reading at a 3rd grade level. He was just Harry. But that's when I realized that he was different, like those other kids. And that's when I eradicated the word from my language. But I was appalled when I went to my middle school and I heard my own teachers using it. No one batted an eyelash when someone said that in front of 36th graders. But imagine that it had been the N-word. See, that's enough to make national headlines. TMZ would pay top dollar to hear that out of Taylor Swift's mouth, but would they really care if she said the R-word? I doubt they would pay a dime. Even Lauren Potter made her own 30-second PSA comparing the use of the N-word and other minority slurs to the R-word. So why do we still think it's okay? Why do we think that the use of the N-word and other slurs is so despicable, but the use of the R-word is just normal? I mean, yeah, a lot of people like to say that it's a medical term. But you see, That's not true. In 2004, they took the term mental retardation out of all of the medical textbooks, and they replaced it with the term intellectual disabilities. So it's not a medical term anymore. You won't find that term in any modern medical textbook. And not only that, but the term mental retardation in 2010 was taken out of all the federal health, education, and labor policies when Obama signed into law Rosa's Law. So you see, not only is that term not in any medical textbook, but it's actually not going to be found anywhere except out of your own mouth. I know that a lot of people don't actually use this word against people with intellectual disabilities, but they use it with friends and family, and it's playful. But that's the problem. When you use the R word against one of your friends or your family members, it still hurts those with intellectual disabilities. It's the same way that saying that someone hits like a girl can offend women. It's just not right. It makes people feel like they are beneath the rest of us that are quote-unquote normal. But see, that's just not true. People just like Lauren Potter have made careers for themselves. And we have the Special Olympics now because we know that people with intellectual disabilities can do amazing things. So just stop. Stop using the word because it's hate speech. It spreads hate and animosity just like the use of the N-word does. It's really not hard. It's not life-changing. It's just not using one word. You can stop this. Just tell people to knock it off. If they react, that's their problem. They're doing the wrong thing. You are doing the right thing. We need to make it so that teachers and students and politicians and celebrities and mothers and fathers and sisters and daughters and brothers and sons will all stop using this word. It's just the right thing to do. For yourself, for your family, and for the world. Thank you.
What a great reminder of how powerful words can be. That brings us to the end of another episode of Celebrate Meridian.